So the Strait of Hormuz has become a very interesting part of this war with Iran, and I think Iran is still has a lot of capability. Apparently, is almost brought it to a halt, and there's no safe passage of ship and other cargo carrying vehicles because they are under the threat of the Iranian government, so they can be shut down. The U.S. and the Israeli government is concerned. Also, there's rising tension in different parts of the world, in Europe, China, because this is one of their main ways to receive energy and supply energy to different parts of the world. We are also feeling the heat in North America. I mean, if you've been to the gas station recently, you can tell how much gas costs right now. In many places, it's gone up 50%. So people are paying more at the pump. So whether you're involved in the war or not, it's affecting you. I read earlier that about 20% of all the world's oil passes through that strait. So a lot has been going on, basically come to a halt. So recently, Trump called on um, other countries who are invested in these who receive oil or sell oil through that part to be able to come to his aid and secure the passage of ship. So far, he's not gotten any positive response from many countries, so that's concerning for the Trump administration. Um, um, I think it's the main part of concern right now in regards to war. Another part is the killing of the secretary of I'm not sure if it's parliament or whatever of Iran, Ali Lajani, and very one of the most top ranking officials who have been killed after Ayatollah Khomeini. So that happened today in the strike. So it is concerning. The gas price has not gone down much as I predicted last week. If it continues to happen that way, Americans are going to feel a pinch and a lot of pushback in Trump's administration. I think we saw that today. His reasons might not directly be from the gas prices going up, but he cited joking. I'm talking about. He cited this is only Iran did not pose any direct threat to America. So there's a lot of questions around that we can delve into. So I'm my assessment is like Trump is trying to get the world invested in what's going on in that strait. Not a very positive response from the world. So he might need to reassure the American people that this is not going to go longer than they expected. Because the more it goes on, and people are going to be worried about, and he risks losing next upcoming election for the House and the Senate. That's my prediction. I hope it doesn't get into that level, but I don't think if my prediction, if this war continues the way it is, Americans will be increasingly become worried about the effect at home and whether it was a good decision for Trump to go in anyways. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a terrible decision. That's why Donald Trump did not even bother to sell it.
Yeah.
In our previous episodes, we've talked about, Donald Trump is not the first United States president who started a war. He's not the first. He's like every United States president has to start a war. It feels like it's a tradition. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference between all these other presidents, the difference between the Bush for Iraq, Obama for Libya, Joe Biden for Ukraine, is that Donald Trump did not even bother to convince the American people that this war was necessary. He did not take the time. It is like he put the cart before the horse. Mm-hmm. And expected that this was going. It was never going to work. George Bush formed a coalition to attack Iraq. I mean, there was no justification for an attack to Iraq, right? But at least he managed to form a coalition of his
allies,
if you want. But me, I call them his from Europe and other parts of the world. Obama, when he went into Libya, had his NATO allies and other European states. He was able to convince them, or they were able to convince each other, that the war was necessary or that they needed to attack. Joe Biden, when the Ukraine war started, he somewhat formed a coalition with the Europeans to defend Ukraine, right? Donald Trump did not bother to do that. He did not bother to sell the war to the American people. He did not bother to sell the war to the rest of the world. And now that he's stuck, he's trying now to bring the rest of the world to him. It's a failure. No country would want to taint themselves with this. If he was able to sell the war before it happened, they would have already been in, just like they were in when they got into Iraq. I mean, things got rough and got bad, but they had bought the war and they were there. They could not abscond or could not leave, right? But this time around, it's like you said, water the tea for up or whatever, right? And then you expect them to drink. No, they are not going to drink. It's dirty, right? So that's the point I wanted to make. Like, Trump did not bother to sell the war. Now he's calling on his allies to join. Nobody wants to get involved in this. Nobody wants to. Not the United Kingdom, not China. I mean, it's absurd that Donald Trump would think that China would come to rescue him. Impossible. There's no way China is ever going to do that. China is never going to come to the rescue of Donald Trump. Maybe they could come to the rescue of the United States, but not while Donald Trump is in power. No, they have a terrible relationship.
Right.
South Korea is not willing to do this. First of all, you've taken all their air defense missiles. They're upset with Trump about that fact that when things got rough in Israel, he went and pulled out air defense missiles from South Korea. Now South Korea is vulnerable to attacks from maybe North Korea or Japan or whoever. And then you expect them to come to your rescue. They are not. Donald Trump is going to take the responsibility of this failure, and he's going to handle this responsibility alone. If this war succeeds, he's going to take the glory alone. If it fails, he is going to be failing alone. I mean, Israel, they don't care. Israel does not care. Israel does not care how this war turned. Their objective was to attack Iran. I don't think anybody planned for how this war was going to happen. I think Donald Trump himself seemed, or his administration seemed surprised why Iran was still fighting. I mean, after saying that we've neutralized this, we've killed this, we've killed their leaders, Iran is still fighting.
Yeah.
And they are surprised why it's happening. All of them are surprised why this thing is still happening. And they are either at the end of the day, they are going to blame the United Kingdom. They are going to blame their allies. They are going to blame NATO, like Trump has just been doing. They're also beginning to blame the press. That the press is partial in how they've chosen to cover the Iran war. I mean, you can't pretend. I think it's just like a camera. It produces what it sees. I think for me, that is what the press has. It doesn't matter that is Donald Trump.
Right.
The press has decided, for whatever reason, or maybe because it's Donald Trump, the press has decided to be a little honest with themselves. So they are holding Donald Trump accountable. They are holding the administration accountable. They will not let them go. I remember the press holding him to account on the 100 and something children that they dropped bombs on in Iraq. They are not going to let Trump go. They are questioning Trump. Did you not know that Iran had the capacity to close the Strait of Hormuz? When you were planning your war, did you not anticipate that Iran had the capacity to do that? Did you not anticipate that if they do that, they are going to take away a large quantity of oil from the global market? Did you not anticipate the price hikes? Did you not anticipate Iran's capability? I think when you underestimate your opponent, you fail to study the opponent, right? You fail to study the opponent, and because you fail to study your opponent, it is very likely that your plans are not going to go the way you think. Because they did not study Iran properly. They did not study how many missiles they had. They did not understand their drone capacity. They did not understand the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. They understood nothing about Iran. They did not even understand that killing all the top leaders, the ayatollahs and the military, that it was not going to change anything. For some reason, they did not factor that out in their plan. Now they are stuck with a war that they cannot really say they won. Donald Trump can say they are winning 20 times, 30 times. The facts on the ground makes it hard to really say America is winning the war. What does it mean to win the war? I think that's a very important question to say. Again, Iran does not need to win. Iran needs to survive. That is all Iran needs to do. Iran needs to survive the campaign. That's all. Now, how does Donald Trump and his administration pull out of this war? How do they pull out of this war when there's no clear victory? I think that is where we are clearly going to have an issue. It's not the media. The facts on the ground are very clear. Missile defense system porous, not working. Iran is still hitting Israel every day. The missile defense system in Saudi Arabia not working. Iran is still hitting Saudi Arabia. There are drones flying into United Arab Emirates. There are drones attacking Kuwait. Yes, you can shoot a few, but it's demonstrated that the iron dome, whatever they call that, is plastic. Now it's because it's porous. It's never been this porous. It is the very first time that you have, again, we don't even know how many people have died in Israel because they would not release those figures. We don't even know really clearly how many people have been injured because they will not release those figures, right? So at this point, we're going by face value, and yes, Iran might be taking a serious hit. They're getting a serious pounding. There's no lie about that. But again, the attackers cannot claim that they are winning because they are not winning. Again, talk about the effect on on the energy markets. America cannot say they are winning when the price of fuel is. I mean, I went by a gas station today. It's $1.55. $1.55. That's the highest it's been for a long time.
Canada is not involved.
And Canada is not even involved. So it really does not matter. So Donald Trump went out and carried, like we say in Africa, you go out and you carry a firewood with soldier ants on them. That is what America did. It's affecting everyone. Canada, it doesn't matter. Canada, Europe, the worst is going to be Europe. To the point where Donald Trump is issuing licenses for countries to buy sanctioned Russian oil. Remember when Russian oil was a taboo a few months ago, where you couldn't even talk about? I mean, those who were buying it were only buying it in hiding. Now they are giving them license to buy Russian oil. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how much money Russia is going to make before this thing is done? Mm-hmm. Russia is selling billions in oils a day, billions in oil a day. Talk less of fertilizers, because there's a lot of fertilizer traffic that goes to Russia. Is in the business. Russia is going to make a windfall before this war ends, and Russia and China, maybe Russia is going to be the winner at the end of the day. Russia is going to be the winner at the end of the day. Again, talking about the Strait of Hormuz, Ghana, before I end, talk too much. Iran is claiming that the Strait of Hormuz isn't closed. Yesterday, a Pakistani ship passed through got authorization from Iran to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. Indian ships are going through, Chinese ships are going through, Russian ships are going through. And Iran has made it very clear. American and Israel and ships from Israel who carry the Israel, they are not going through. But any other country that wants to go through the Strait of Hormuz can make a request directly to Iran. Iran controls the strait. Mm-hmm. That is a fact. So if you want your ships to go through, you negotiate, make a deal with Iran, and have your ships go through. Again, like I said, yesterday Pakistani ships were going through the strait, right? Chinese ships are going through. So it's not like it's closed. It's close to the United States and to Israel. That's it. Anyone else can, and I believe very strongly that that's why the other states are not willing to get involved. They don't want to force this. They don't want to force it. I heard Donald Trump saying the other day, we don't even know if it's the Strait of Hormuz is mine. We are not sure how. But again, who is willing to go try? Mm-hmm. These are aircraft carriers, expensive, 30 billion and more. Do you want to use 30 billion for an experiment? Nobody wants that. That's why their ships are hiding far from the arena of war. You think the United Kingdom wants to bring their ships so that Iran can sink them? No, they don't want that. So at the end of the day, this fight is Trump's fight. He's going to fight it alone. If he wins, good for him. If he loses, he is going to take the humiliation and the shame on alone, and nobody's coming to his rescue. That's what I wanted to say, Ghana. Sorry.
Yeah, not to delve so much on the topic. We got to move on quick.
Right.
I don't know if he needs to sell this topic or sell the war of Iran to the American people. Obama said, Hillary Clinton said it, Biden said it, Kamala all said that Iran was a threat. So there's no need. Most Americans thought Iran was a threat. So who wanted to go in was the question. But all of them had designated Iran the number one sponsor of terrorists. Two, press. Sure, the press, it is our right to question Trump on anything, but we cannot argue that the press has been biased towards Trump. This is not the first time. His first term, even when he was not in office, there was severe media coverage against Trump, negative media coverage against Trump. That's not new. It's really in all articles. And last, winning. Winning is a very complex issue. Okay, what does win mean? What does win for US mean? What does win for Iran mean? So, like I said last week, you take some of the wins, you take some of the losses. You cannot come out clearly winner. But obviously, I think you have to divide it by primary target, and secondary target, and maybe third target. So I think clearly to take out Ayatollah.
So when Trump goes around and say that we are winning, and what criteria do you think he's using to qualify the win?
Nuclear sites gone, ballistic missile reduced more than 90%.
And then why are you still there?
Yeah,
facts. If you're winning a war, if you've won the war, why are you still there?
Well, because war is complex, like we all agree.
So why do you think that you're winning at this point? If you're when you win a war, you don't stay there and continue to fight. When you win a war, you leave.
Well, what? Like French still has soldiers in West Africa. They have left.
They are not fighting a war.
Yeah, they are what? But the point is, you have to divide these things into categories. You cannot bring a tertiary.
Do you remember when George Bush claimed victory in Iraq?
Well, what was George Bush's main target of going to Iraq? To destroy the weapons of mass destruction.
Was there any weapons of mass destruction? When he declared that they won, how many years before the American soldiers left?
Oh, many years after.
So did they really win?
No.
Because if you're winning, why are you still there? No. That's my question. If Trump says they are winning, why are they still there? You cannot win and hang around.
Well, because it's different. Well, but I have to push back because most Americans don't think Americans won in Iraq. They thought it was a waste of time, a waste of money. They didn't discover any weapons of mass destruction.
Have they ever won a war? Has America really ever won a war?
Of course.
Which one?
War?
Which one?
The Second World War.
The Second World War. They've never won a war after the Second World War. Give me one that they won.
I mean, okay.
North Korea, South Korea, they did not win. They did not win in Afghanistan. They did not really win in Iraq. They haven't won in Syria. They did not win in Libya. Which war has the United States won after the Second World War?
We're going into a tangent. We don't have a lot of time.
It's not a tangent. I'm just telling you that they have a history of failing.
Well,
that is the history I'm giving you. They have a history of failing.
I disagree.
They go into war blindly and they fail. They've never won a war.
What with your definition, nobody has ever won a war because presidents or whatever.
Second World War, we had victors. They were people won the war. First World War, yes.
There were lots of people who died. There was still military bases because of Second World War.
It's not about death, Ghana. Because if it's about death, then nobody wins. So Trump should not be saying that the Americans won. Because if you're talking about death, like death is terrible. Unless you're saying that you win by the number of people you kill. But if we
No,
keep the death aside,
but
and we think
you are the one making the argument that you win because the other people are killing or because you're still present. No, divide this thing according to goals. If your goal was to destroy the nuclear site, that's a win. If your goal was to destroy the ballistic missile, they are winning. They have brought it down to more than 90%. If
Right.
your goal was to get out the top leaders, you are winning there.
Right.
But you cannot anticipate how long the war's. These things are very complex. They are moving pieces all the time. So it is hard to say for sure what constitutes winning. That's why I say you have to divide these things out because you cannot confuse what is a tertiary issue to be the primary issue.
We don't even know what the primary issue. You remember
The
we
issue
tried
is
to define, me and you tried to define what the primary objective was.
everybody,
Which
every
was it?
president of the US has articulated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. This should not be surprising.
If that is the primary issue, then they've won. And
Good.
since you won, why are you still there?
Well, that's another argument now because there are other issues, there are other moving pieces. Okay. I mean, we should move to the next topic, but you have the last word for this one. Go.
I mean, I'm going to say there's no winning for Donald Trump. He can say that he's won. Again, there's no winning. Like I said earlier, America has not won a war since the Second World War.
Yeah.
Is it Vietnam? They didn't win in Vietnam. They didn't win in the Korean War. Iraq, they did not win in Iraq. Afghanistan is the worst loss they've ever had. Ukraine, they are still losing in Ukraine. And today we're in Iran.
We'll get your point. You make the point.
They've lost.
Let's move.